Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jeff. I am the Chief Medical Officer at Rythmia Life Advancement Center, and I am very pleased to say that I am also accompanied by two of my favorite staff members that have ever been a part of the company. We have Waleska and Karo, and they work within the shamanic department of the plant medicine division of our Ayahuasca. And we're going to get into all about what that means and who they are and how it works. And we're really excited that you're here watching this webinar, because we're doing these webinars regularly so we can bring you guys a lot of information about what we're doing down here in Costa Rica, about what our mission is as a company, and how things work with our program. So just to kind of give you a little background, Rythmia Life Advancement Center is a week-long ayahuasca retreat that also has a variety of different modalities that are all geared towards helping you heal from a variety of things you might have been dealing with in your life. We all know that the world is a difficult place and life is hard, but there's amazing times in life and there's beautiful moments and all this beauty around us, but sometimes we get bogged down with our jobs, and sometimes we're in relationships that have gone south and we're not communicating well, we're not feeling what we need to feel, and we're so busy that we're not really connecting with ourselves. So what Rythmia is about, it's about figuring out what is going on in your life, figuring out what you're showing the world that maybe isn't authentically you, and then plugging back into the true authentic self and healing and connecting. And I like to call it being not dissociated any longer and just actually plugging into you. And through that plugging in process and reconnecting with yourself, all of the healing comes and all of the release of whatever you've been holding on to your whole life is healed, and you move past it with confidence. And after that, you have clarity, you have, I like to use the word sovereignty, you have the ability to make your own decisions and to see things for what they are and make good choices in life and to be happy and successful. So that's a big part of what we're doing here at Rythmia, and we're going to get into, because we've had a lot of people ask us about details about the ayahuasca. What is it? How does it work? Where does it come from? Why is Rythmia the only medically licensed facility in the world? Why do I hear about ayahuasca lately in the press and all over, there's all these kind of trendy sort of pop-up places in the world that are doing this, but there's not a lot of really good information out there to explain exactly how it works. So in this webinar, we have a really interesting topic, and it's about love and healing and self-connection. And the topic of this webinar is called Channeling Love and Healing with Ayahuasca for a Healthier and Happier You. So I want to get into this and explain a little bit about how this works so you guys can ground yourselves and feel happy in your life and really see light at the end of the tunnel. Because we all know that therapy and meds and just life itself isn't always working for everybody. And we want to give you some tools of empowerment to help you move forward in life in a productive way. So I have two of the most important people in the company here with me that can help explain this, and we're going to have a really good discussion. And I want Waleska first, if she could, to just give a little shout out to everybody and tell them who you are and what it is you do at Rythmia.
Thank you. Yes, well, my name is Waleska. I'm Costa Rican, and I came to work at Rythmia almost like 9 years ago. I came to work in the management team with Dr. Jeff, with Jerry, and the general manager back then. And after drinking on the fourth time the medicine, I received like a call, to start working with the medicine, which was very surprising for me because my intention that night was completely something else. But the medicine, as we say, it's really a mystery, in many aspects. So that night I received my call to start working in ceremonies, and so I remember that I asked, is it something that can happen for me? And the answer was yes, you can go there. And I was super excited. And then, everything started happening. I started working in every ceremony back then, like for the first year, probably year and a half, and studying, Jahe, which is the name that they give to the ayahuasca in the Colombian tradition that we study. And from there, studying myself, healing myself, so I can become also a better healer. Also, like to give better service, better support. So always working, and it's truly a blessing and a privilege for me to sit with this medicine every week and to work with all the people that we work, because it's really like inspirational to see so many miracles every week, like people like really like stepping into their power, to really work on themselves. It's truly inspirational, and this is a blessing for me and a privilege to be seated with this medicine every week.
And I believe that there are no accidents or mistakes in anything in life, that there's intention behind it, and we might not know what that intention is, and it's totally seen in, I believe, Waleska, in your path, because I remember when you were working with us in the management team, and I used to have Waleska help me with getting my container out of customs. I mean, it's like
totally a different life.
Totally like accounting, HR, management. Like that was Waleska's job at the beginning.
Right.
But once Waleska, and we like to call ayahuasca, we like to call it a plant medicine. And sometimes you'll hear us refer to ayahuasca as a medicine, because we believe that it is healing and that it is a medicine that comes from nature to heal the planet. So you might hear us use that term a little bit in this discussion. And I've only seen Waleska just flourish while she's taken the initiative and the calling. And when she heard these intentions for her about working with the ayahuasca and helping heal people, it's just been this amazing path. And it's so cool to watch you and see this happen, because I mean, I just love Waleska. I mean, she's just a powerful woman and a very powerful person, and it's just incredible. So I'd like to now have Karo, who has a similar amazing story, give us a little background on who you are and what you're doing here.
Yeah, my story is same, but very different, of course. So somehow life brought me here to Rythmia as a guest, and that is like 6.5 years ago, I think. And yeah, it was already a mystery how I found my way here in a certain way. So and the funny thing is I didn't know much about it actually, and then I was immediately fascinated. So even my first night was opening something up, like, oh my God, this is like this experience is something I was always looking for. And also in my work, I was working as an actress in a theater, so it was also about exploring, but I didn't found that what I was finding in the medicine in a certain way. So and then I came within 1 year, I think 3 times, and then it just happened, Then I got closer to the staff because you start to know each other. And then I don't even remember really. Then I landed in your office and had an interview with you.
Well, I remember that, like, once you received your healing, that you were quick to get your family here. And your daughter and your husband and your friends and everybody you knew.
That's true.
And that's kind of what happens. You become like this like advocate for the process, because it's so life-changing.
Yeah, exactly. And really the people feel, it's not so much like being on a mission with that, it's really like, in my way, like they say, like, what happened to you, like you changed, and they cannot even tell what, but they are drawn to it. So exactly, then my daughter, my husband, friends came here as well. Yeah, and then it happened, it really unfolded that I started to volunteer here first, and so now I'm here for 5 years, and now I also, I didn't even know that this job is existing.
It's a wild job.
So it's a wild job. But if you have told me like 7 years ago, like that I'm gonna end up serving medicine,
you would never think that.
I was not expecting that, and but it's really like, this is really a beautiful family I'm allowed to be in here. The Rythmia family is really, really so supportive, and we are really growing together, and it's fascinating to see also every week these miracles. Really, it's like experiencing it by myself and also witnessing that, and being really, I'm very, very grateful to see that. It makes me very hopeful for all of us, for humanity. What the progress I see in what's happening here with the guests and with ourselves also with Mia family. So
I love that. And what's interesting about what you said is that when you made this shift and this healing that you received, the people that knew you said, you changed, something happened, right?
yeah,
And what that was, in my opinion, was the true Karo came through.
exactly.
Finally,
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And
yes.
it's the true authentic self.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
what people are saying, wow, like you're different now. Well, I am different, but I'm really myself
Yes.
now, right? It's
Yes.
very powerful. We've had 18,000 guests come to Rythmia. Our 18,000th guest arrived last week. So it was a big deal for us. And we threw a big celebration for her, gave her a free week. She was really happy and totally surprised by one of our guests that came here. But we see about 50 to 100 people a week, every week of the year, except for the holiday, 1 week in the holidays in December, and then 2 weeks in September when we close for renovations. So we are a very active, open facility that's working with people constantly. And to me, having been raised in Los Angeles, California, where I was trained as a psychologist, doctorate level psychologist, and a master's level public health specialist, and working in private practice for many years in psychology, also running drug and alcohol rehab centers, running divisions of hospitals and psychiatric inpatient units. I have never seen the amount of healing in healthcare that I see every single week here at Rythmia. It's really incredible. And we're collecting data, and we are about to release a really great amount of published papers in the future here where we can really show the outcome data that we're getting for people that come to Rythmia. So what I like to do now is I'd like to shift a little bit, and I want to explain for a couple minutes what exactly is ayahuasca. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the scientific side, the medical side of it, and then after that I want Waleska and Karo to explain more of the shamanic side of what ayahuasca is and what it means. So in a medical, scientific sense, ayahuasca is a drink that is made out of two plants. One of the plants is a vine, and that vine is what we call a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. And that monoamine oxidase inhibitor, MAOI, it's very important to have in that drink, and the reason is because the other plant contains a high level of DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine. Now, DMT is the active ingredient in the ayahuasca. DMT is already in all of our bodies. Most all living things have DMT already in it. Most plants do, most mammals do. Almost every living thing has a certain level of DMT, including humans. And so what happens is, when you have your natural DMT, what is it for? Is a big question. There's a lot of theories about it in science. Nobody really has the answer, except for us, of course. So
Yes and no.
we have our beliefs about it. And the natural DMT that we all have is released into the bloodstream 3 times in life, generally. Number 1, when you're born. Number 2, when you die. And number 3, when you have lucid dreams. There's other times too, sometimes moments of deja vu or spiritual connection or clarity. That can be a DMT sort of moment. But why would DMT be released when you're born? Well, I have a 1-year-old. God help me.
Yeah.
She's amazing, but she keeps me on my toes. But when you're around newborns and when you're around young kids, what do you notice about them? They're very connected. They're very connected to
Absolutely.
something that we don't see anymore, right? And so children are very, very, the veil is not very wide between them and the spirit world. And so the DMT is a part of that experience. It's a connection molecule. It connects us with things unseen. It connects us with vibrational energy. There's some cultures and some groups that believe it connects you with God, whatever people believe God to be. And some people believe, especially indigenous cultures, it connects you to nature itself, to Mother Nature itself. We believe too that there's a spiritual energy to ayahuasca that they're going to get into more. And so when you mix these two plants into a drink, and it's done ceremonially and sacredly, there's blessings and prayers and things that happen. You drink this, and it's about 1.5 to 2 ounces is what we start giving people here at Rythmia. And then you lay down, you relax, and you have intentions, and you meditate. And then what happens is you start to have a release of any sort of emotional baggage or emotional trauma you might have been holding on to that's holding you back. Also in life, we have barriers of ways of thinking. We have negative thoughts. We have, we're surviving. Some people are under duress. Some people are living in trauma or have experienced trauma. All of these survival techniques and survival mechanisms are for our good. But when we're constantly in a state of emergency or survival or under attack, it can become extremely draining, and it can cause a concept called dissociation. That's where we unplug from our true self and we're just going through life numb, and we're not really connected to anything. And we're just going through the motions. We're unhappy. We don't feel much. We don't have these strong emotions for really anything. And so this drink that we give people that's intentional and mindful and has a moment where you're really focused on why you're here and what you're doing, this helps open up channels of healing for you. And the brain chemistry part of it is very interesting. That's what I kind of study the most here. And the amygdala part of the brain is the part of the brain that stores the subconscious. It's mostly the memories and the emotions associated with those memories. So if you're in a trauma moment, fear and anxiety and sadness are usually present as emotions when you're under attack, but those emotions get in your way of survival, so you push them away into the amygdala, and then you fight or flight. That's the moment of survival. And then once you get through that moment, you're supposed to feel those emotions again, but in the West, we don't do it too well. We're not good at that. We just keep burying those emotions and pushing them down. So a lifetime of burying emotions and not dealing with them eventually leads to us being unhappy, not trusting people, blocking emotional connection, using drugs and alcohol in a way that's inappropriate, and just living a life that's unfulfilled and unhappy. So the science behind this is very powerful, and there's a lot of studies coming out lately, especially in the last couple years, that are really showing the neurochemical side of this, the synaptic plasticity component, the brain chemistry, how you can adjust the way that you think based on intention. There's a lot of really great things. Epigenetics is a part of this. So I'm really excited with what's happening in science for ayahuasca in particular, but especially the way we're approaching it at Rythmia, because it's done very, very safely. So I want to turn the time over to Waleska and Karo so they can explain, the fun part about the ayahuasca, about the history of it, and what it means, and how sacred it is as a modality of healing.
Yes, well, we study the Colombian tradition of the medicine, and they call it yahe, right? So there is, as Dr. Jeff explained, is the vine, the ayahuasca vine, combined with the leaf, and the people that got this information, it's the Ingano people and also the Siona. And the Ingano people, they are botanics, so they have been studying plants all of their existence, right? And they tell us that 5,000 years ago the medicine was given to them. And when this medicine was given to them, actually something very particular happened, and they studied for a long time. They gave it to the men, and the men had a reaction. And then they give it to the women, and the women had no reaction. Because back then we were so connected to Mother Earth that we didn't need the medicine, But then history happened, and all these things happened, and now we need to drink the medicine definitely to remember the connection, because it's not that we are disconnected. It's that we need to remember our essence, to remember who we are. They call these plants also humanizing plants, because they make us more humans. How? Because they put us in touch with our emotions. As Dr. Jeff was saying, like we as Westerners, we push our emotions down and down. We enter in this survival mode. And in a way, we give our power of make decisions and to drive through life to ego and fear, right? Because we need we need protection, and we need to survive, right? And they used to teach this in one of the classes. It's like having a car, and then you have ego on the wheel, and fear is next to you, and next to ego, and then you are in the back. And when you drink the medicine, you tell these two guys, now you go to the back, and now I'm driving,
Nice.
right? And this is what we study, with this plant medicine, with the jahe. The Ingano and the Siona, these people, they are located in the south part of the country of Colombia, in a region called Putumayo that is based in the Amazon. And the ayahuasca is coming, is shared, it's a tradition, it's different tradition, different ways to brew the medicine, a different language, you know, and it's based in all the Amazon. So we have it from Ecuador, from Brazil, Peru, Colombia, and they all share like this amazing medicine. And they got the information that they needed to share it with the world, because we are so sick, like we really forgot this connection, and this is what it's keeping us to becoming our true self, to the authentic self that we are. And they teach us, for example, that what we truly are is an endless temple of love and light, and that our essence is divine. This medicine builds a bridge between yourself and this other realm where all the spirits are. So when you drink the medicine, it's like your consciousness travels there, okay? And there's where all the spirits are. They are waiting for you to get there. And the moment that you start taking action, they will support that action. All the spirits, they will support your healings. They will support your intention. For example, here that we have the first intention is show me who I have become. In this intention, what they explain is like, you know, it's not for you to feel guilt about how you have lived your life or how you have made your decisions before coming to the plant medicine. It's totally the opposite. It's more to reflect on how you're living your life. And it's giving you also a choice, because next time after you do the whole program here, it's like now you have a choice, and then you're conscious. You're more conscious. The medicine brings awareness on how you're living your life. In the tradition, we have like different tools also to help like people to move the energy, because sometimes we haven't felt these emotions for so long. Then we sit with the medicine and she opens up everything, and then we start feeling fear, anger, sadness, like you name it, like all kind of resentment, like all these emotions that we kept like so down to survive, and then suddenly you start feeling them. And what we study is also like this connection with God, because they said that there is a particle of God inside of all of us. The medicine is also called a drop of a particle of God, drop of nature, and a particle of God. So it's like you drinking nature, right? It's actually you drinking nature, and then remembering. It's about remember who you are, right? The medicine will like bring all these memories, even from ancestral time. This is an ancestral tradition. Like it has so many thousands of years, and like any other ancestral tradition, it has a lot of wisdom that now we are studying with our teacher, with this tradition, the Ingano and the Siones. And through the tools that we're learning to use, you know, we have the white eyes, we have the feathers, we have the lotions. What we're doing there every time that we're praying for one of our guests is that we're calling nature. We're calling nature, we're calling God, and they are the ones that come through these tools, and even through us, for this person to heal and to start remembering. And it helps to remove like blockages, like, you know, and to have like new ideas, renewed energy, like so many things. And in the traditional, they call it like Dr. Jeff said, it's medicine. They call it in Spanish remedio. It's the remedy for the heart, for the spirit, for the soul. And
what's interesting about it, as you say that, is that, you know, when I was trained as a psychologist and I worked with patients that had trauma or depression, anxiety, addiction, things like that, it would take me 5 to 10 years to really get into the issues. And we're finding that in a week,
exactly,
people are unearthing all of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible. It's like 20 years of therapy in a week.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just so powerful,
It
you
is.
know?
And I think also like because as a Western society, we are really always intellectualizing everything, you know? We explain ourselves out of feeling, you know? We justify, or we always have very quick explanation why I am where I am or whatever, you know? And the medicine is really like, and that can be very challenging. It's not working out that way with the medicine, so we have to feel where we are, and then it's like we learn to become like really like kind of simple, you know. It's not like so much intellectualizing and talking myself into explanations or stories. So we really start to feel, and that also change, like that let the feeling also pass because it's seen,
Incredible.
But a society, in the society we live, there's no space for that, because then we learn that if we feel uncomfortable, something is wrong with us. So we cannot allow that, and we have to pretend that we have our shit together, so to say, but it's nothing wrong to have uncomfort or to feel uncomfortable. If it's fear, it's part of humanness.
That's right.
And and then I think at Rythmia, included myself, we create a space where we feel safe to feel and to be there and not judged.
Well, I believe that Jerry Powell is our CEO. He's the founder of this because he had been going through all these different problems in his life with addiction and substance abuse issues and just lifestyle stuff that was really out of control. And he discovered plant medicine for himself, and he was healed. And I was his psychologist, and I wasn't having any success with him at all because he was so stubborn and difficult and really lost. And I didn't know what I was doing with him because nothing seemed to work. And so him and I together kind of like figured out that if we can heal ourselves first with this ayahuasca and with this plant medicine, then we can heal and help heal the world. It just goes one person at a time.
Yes.
And Jerry often says that the journey at Rythmia might seem very long and hard, but it's really just this far. It's from your head to your heart. It's this far. It's getting in tune with your heart. That's the beauty of this.
Yes.
So I'd like to shift gears into the topic of what this webinar is. We've been kind of hitting different things. Love and healing and connection are a big part of what most of our guests feel at the end of the week. And a lot of people come here as couples, and they come because they're going through sometimes difficulty in their relationships. And we often see couples come together. We've also seen them come individually, and then the other one comes after. And we've seen everything in between. And so what I'd like to discuss with both of you is, how does ayahuasca help with relationships, whether it's our spouse, our partner, relationships with our children, relationships with our coworkers? It seems to have this profound effect on relationships in general. So I'd like to see what you guys think about like how this works and what it means,
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I think the first thing when we enter this medicine is like that we see that everything is relationship. And first, how is the relationship with myself, right? And as long as I'm looking outside for something to fill what I lack, what I think I need, or let's say I want to have the proof that my partner is loving me, and I look for the proofs, but actually I look for the proofs he or she is not, because I'm and then I'm focused there, and then I put all the responsibility there, and I think like when we learn, and this is what the medicine is doing, then we learn really to create step by step like a very true relationship, a true intimacy with ourselves in a way, and that's something that is of course challenging, and then we have high standards how my partner should be, or how my child should behave, or society in general. But then we are confronted with, do I meet the standard? So and that's the invitation to really look at yourself in the way like we are all like a wholeness in light and shadow. And if we really learn step by step to accept that and even start to love that, then we find like really the appreciation of the experience of being human, not being perfect. It's this appreciation of being true, and then we start to have a different quality of relationship. Then we start to communicate in a different way, and we start to look to the other in a different way, because we accept also parts in us we were probably not accepting, and then we don't accept that anywhere. So it's so much related with like Michael Beckwith used to say, the answer is you. You know, it started. The first thing, it started with ourselves, and that definitely affects like if we really start to heal and to soften our the view on ourselves and the relationship with ourselves, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and that's a precious space to be true and open. Then we start to listen differently, and then we start to look differently also into our partners and our beloved ones and in the world actually, and it starts there, and then everything starts to change. The quality starts to change also in our
I used to tell people in my couples therapy practice back in Los Angeles, I used to tell people that the best way to avoid your own issues is to be in a dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
project it there.
that's right. It's a great way.
And we all do that.
We all do it.
Yes,
it's human
all of us.
nature, right?
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
human nature, you know?
Absolutely. But like to experience that there is actually really another way, and I go really far now, especially like between the two sexes, the old story we tell ourselves. So through the work with the medicine, I really, really start to understand that we are really able to create a new story about that. But we all have to start with ourselves. You know, so there it starts. There's no way around. Exactly. We can always project it there, but nothing is changing if we are not taking the responsibility for our space.
I'm sure Waleska would agree with me that what's interesting is that people, if they come here to improve their marriage or their relationships, right, that they think, oh, well, my spouse has to change, and I'm trying to figure out how to leave them, and I need to get strong to leave. And then at the end of the week, they realize, oh, I actually love my spouse more than ever.
Exactly.
And I see what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and now I need to work on myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That happens so much here.
So many times, because we think because the way that we grew up, and then how trauma was created, you know, that many times, as Karo was saying, we need to look outside, you know, and then we put the responsibility even on others to make us happy.
Exactly.
You know, we're looking for happiness outside, we're looking for recognition outside, and all these things are already inside of us. And when we drink the medicine, it's like the medicine lifting all these veils. So we can really see that everything that we need is already within us. Everything that we need is already within us. It's just that we forgot about these things.
That's right.
And then the medicine is building this bridge. The medicine, in a way, is also activating our own medicine, the medicine that we all carry.
Exactly.
You know, when we learn, because if we don't love ourselves, then it's very difficult to love another person, right? And that's when we want to control, when we want to manipulate, and you know, do things to control, and the kids, and you know, partners, and the people that we work with, because the controllers give us a false sense of security, right? And then we drink the medicine, and the medicine, it's like control, you know what? It's an illusion, you know what? We oftentimes we tell people here, like, what you can really control is your thoughts, the way that you think. And the medicine is even doing that. There is a part in the process that the medicine is speaking on thoughts, and it's saying this thought can say this one is not, because during the whole day we're creating so many thoughts, and not all of them are good thoughts. Right? It's something that also they teach in the tradition, you know, to think beautiful thoughts, because everything starts with our thoughts. After we go through this process, it's easier to start recognizing, you know, and to have like this awareness. And that's like you said, you know, we're blaming other people and putting the responsibility outside, and then we drink the medicine, and it's like, it was me.
Yeah.
All the time, it was me.
Yes.
Like,
and I think what's also important to acknowledge as well in the relationship dynamic that we deal with at Rythmia is that sometimes it is important that relationship ends.
Yes.
It is.
Absolutely.
And it just depends on the situation. And we don't want to minimize, of course, the importance of a person becoming empowered in order to make that shift and to get out of an abusive relationship,
Absolutely.
potentially, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And so we've seen that as well. So it's not all just about like, okay, well, I'm going to make my marriage work no matter what. It's like sometimes it's just time to end it, and the program gives that person the confidence and the clarity. And then what we see happen is that breakup is loving. and it's a breakup that
peaceful.
is peaceful.
It's peaceful.
That's what we see more often than not, is the calmness and the love within it.
Yes.
And that part's beautiful to see.
Yes, and something
Absolutely.
that I've been also observing, it's like, for example, couples that they have kids, you know, when the parents have drank the medicine, or at least one of them, also how they can support the children going through this process.
Yes.
You know, because they are also coming from a more loving space, you know, loving themselves. They can like support the children, you know, and acknowledge their feelings, you know, and to be like they're like taking, because most of the kids will feel like they are responsible for the parents' breakup, right?
Yes.
That's something that happens like many times.
Yes.
So also with the plant medicine, the medicine gives you like this sensitivity, also to be there for your children, you know, to give the support and for this transition to be smoother,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's really also super interesting to see.
It is.
Yeah.
And something that's very interesting as well that I've noticed, and what we have at Rythmia is we have one-on-one counseling available during the week while you're here. Because sometimes people get a little overwhelmed,
Yes.
and they might get confused, and they might be scared a little bit because they're facing themselves, and that can be hard. They might have never done it before.
Well,
So we have a
it's
great...
the hardest thing.
It is, right? So we have a really great team of people, and we have a counselor, we have a couple counselors that will do one-on-one sessions during the daytime to help you get centered again, so you can go into the next ayahuasca session. Because we have 4 ayahuasca sessions a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the week. Because most people show up on a Saturday or a Sunday, they go through the program, and they check out on the following Saturday or this Sunday. So that's kind of how this looks like. But I wanted to mention a red flag to all of you out there watching this webinar. A red flag is if you want to go and heal yourself and you want your partner to come, but they're resistant to it, and not only are they resistant, but they try to prevent you from getting healing, that's a red flag. Because what's happening there is that they know that they are codependent with you, and that they are attached to you probably in dysfunctional ways. We all go through this in life. It's not unique to just you, right? We all been there.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, right, I have it for sure. So what happens is your partner might be scared. They might be thinking, my spouse or my partner is going to go to this retreat. They're going to get clarity. They're going to heal. Then they're just not going to want me anymore. They're going to discard me. I want everyone to know that that is never our recommendation. We do not encourage that. What we encourage is healing and clarity and self-awareness. And what we always hope happens is that then the partner afterwards comes for their week and gets their healing. So if that's you, if your spouse, your partner's like, you go, but I'm not going, and then as it gets closer to that time, they start to get resistant and they don't want you to go, push through that. Push through that and get the clarity you need, because it's only going to help your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So another thing that is important to talk about, you know, while we're on this subject, is, you know, people nowadays in the West, they're talking a lot about higher consciousness, connection, like this higher self, and all these kind of like new age words that, you know, to be honest, I don't understand very much myself at all. But you know what I mean? That's way outside of my pay grade, right? But I think what people are trying to understand is, you know, they've lost confidence in government. They've lost confidence in healthcare. They've lost confidence in the pharmaceutical approach. They've just lost confidence in the ways that are traditionally out there in the Western world for healing and for help. And they've seen people, you know, we've all seen it becomes a business, and it becomes, there's legal issues and there's ethics, and it's very chaotic. And I witnessed that firsthand as a psychologist in Los Angeles, where my hands were tied on legal things that I had to do, and it was like so like not right, in my opinion, for my patients to do, but whatever, so that's a whole nother thing. But I think what we'd like to discuss now is, what does it mean to achieve a higher self, or to connect to your higher self? Like, what is your higher self? Like, what does that even mean? And if you do connect to that higher self, or that true you, what does that look like? Like, how does it show up? And what do you guys think about that? Like, what am I getting at with that?
I would call it more like a higher consciousness. You know, the higher consciousness. And the way that we also understand it in the tradition of the medicine is the Great Spirit, the unconditional source of the source of unconditional love. You can call it God, universe, right? Through the medicine, we remember that connection again, right? And that's when we like, in a way, like renew our strength, right? Then we remember that we are all part of nature, that we are creation, right? We are creation, and we start remembering that, and then we look at nature, how we treat the people that lives around us, our families, our communities, the people that we work with. If the way that we're treating them is coming from this love to creation, understanding that we are all one, that anything that I do here will have a ripple effect over there on my brother, on my sister, on other people, that's when also, I start walking in integrity in my life, and I start walking like more coherent also, right? Like my thoughts, my words, and my actions are more aligned with the plant medicine. So then we also learn to trust, to trust in this great spirit, in this higher consciousness, and then we become, as we call it here, light workers and light warriors. And then we are on this side, and we're bringing the balance, because there's so much darkness in the world. And when we receive like the plant medicine, we become more conscious. We understand that we are all one. That's the second intention that we have here. Merge me back with my soul at all costs. When we go to that place where we understand that we are all one, then we start like really, walking like that, understanding, and then there's less judgment, because we also heal that on ourselves. We forgive ourselves. It's a very big part of the process. Forgiveness, acceptance. For example, like it's a very beautiful teaching. If we manage to accept everything and to understand that everything that happened in our lives happened for a reason, and it happened in the way that it needed to happen. That it couldn't happen in another way. It needed to happen like that, so we can be here now talking about this in the here and now, understanding all these things, right? Or trying to understand these things, like jumping into this new knowledge that the nature is giving us. So that's the way that I see it. Like, we connect to this higher consciousness, and then we can walk more peacefully, trusting, knowing and understanding again that whatever I do will have a ripple effect.
I love that. That's a great way to explain that. Karo, I was wondering what you think about our belief at Rythmia that between the ages of 2 and 7 years old, everybody on the planet will have a dissociative split from their true self. And the reason this happens is because they're under abuse, they're under neglect, they got scared, they misunderstood something as a little kid, and they feel that they have to show the world something that's not truly them. And that's where the split occurs that leads to this like snowball effect of disconnection. And so the higher self, I believe, was present before that event happened. So if I look at my 1-year-old daughter, she's her true self. She's definitely her true self, right? Yeah. There's no split there. There's no facade. There's no different person. She is who she is. Sure. But in 5 years or 6 years, she's gonna get scared about something, or see that she has to. I'm so stubborn. She has to do something different to get me to pay attention to her. Who knows what it'll be, right? But there'll be something that will shift her, and then she's on her path, and then she's got to connect back to that higher self. So, like, do you see our guests go through that kind of process here? Like, do you see that in the ceremonies with the ayahuasca?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I observed that also in myself. Like that we really, yeah, and when that happens, like, it can be like a very traumatizing, obviously for everyone understanding, but it can also be like very little things, that cause the split, and and then it's necessary to protect ourselves. So like that also helps in the process, because we are judging ourselves. We are so fast in like protecting ourselves and then judging ourselves for our patterns. And what I used to say to like people in that process, it's to understand that it was necessary to protect ourselves in a certain moment of our life, because we needed to. So there was a necessity and to do that. and then from out of that it went into a pattern and start to hold us back from connecting, you know, with life, with ourselves. So and that understanding that it was necessary, that was okay, to why we developed that pattern, that helps already to soften the pattern itself, you know.
Yes.
For me, it's very, very related to also like the idea of higher consciousness. What I observe also with like the spiritual movement we observe in the world is like also like we have to be already perfect. We have to be already spiritual mature, and then we forget to do our human homework. So that we are always there. Like we want to be spiritual, we want to be over the things or something. And not, I mean, you know, like that's a tendency. But we find the spiritual connection in experiencing our humanness. There is like it's not
the process.
It's not like there's this and there's the human and you know, and this is wrong and this is right. It's really the experience to be a human is a spiritual process. So the higher consciousness or the higher self, it's all together. It's the process.
We see that spiritual ego in some people.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Where they're like, I've done all the work.
Yes.
I know better than you do.
Yeah.
I have a higher moral compass than you. Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? It's just, those are people that are in resistance and in avoidance.
Yeah, and it's very tricky, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same. Like that's the way to avoid to feel again and to be human.
That's
and
right.
to be not perfect, you know, like to be true. So and that's a very interesting and also delicate spot to catch.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
These are the shields that we build.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, to protect ourselves.
That's right.
And oftentimes when people come here and they are like on Monday, like, oh, I'm not getting anything from the medicine and everything, we're like, you just need to open the space for her to come. She's just waiting for a tiny hole so she can go in there.
That's right.
You know, and it start like giving you like this experience.
I used to tell people, because when I worked in the drug and alcohol world back in Los Angeles, and I used to run a very well-known rehab, and the families of the clients would always say, "Good luck with this guy. He's never going to change." And I would say, all I need is a hint of internal motivation, and we can flip it around.
Yeah.
That's all we need. A hint,
medicine.
just a hint, and then you can make these shifts.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's very.
I want to remind the audience that this is all being recorded, and you're going to get an email copy of this in your inbox, so that if some people I know have to kind of go in and out, and we're going to end in about 12 minutes from now. And so I just want to remind everybody that you're going to have this to share with your friends and to watch again and go over the things that you might have missed. And I'll tell you what, I've been in so many medical conferences, I've been in so many lectures, and I've been in grad school for 18 years, and I've heard it all. I have learned so much just sitting with these two individuals right now that I ever have. I mean, this is incredible. This is like right from the source. These two people are working with guests every day here, intimately with this medicine. It's incredible to see the power that this brings to the whole healing process. The knowledge that you both have is incredible. Like, I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe. It's beautiful to see. I want to shift gears into the last couple minutes here, last 12 minutes, to answer some questions from the people that registered for this webinar. And there were so many questions that a lot of them were similar. So we condensed them into kind of ones that kind of hit the most topics for most of the people that sent them. And if you have other questions, please feel free when you call our number. I'm going to give you the number at the end about how to book and how to get your questions answered and how to you figure out if you want to come to Rythmia and like how that all works. I'm going to give you some numbers at the end and some ways to get some more information about us. So how would the guests, before they get here, what should they do to prepare to come here?
Bueno, the most important thing is, we call it the dieta. It's like a diet, right? So it's about, there is a list of food, things that we need to avoid, because the cleaner is the body, the better is the absorption of the medicine, right? If you are drinking alcohol, it's important to quit at least a month before. If you're taking drugs, also to quit a month before, like any heavy foods, like meats, like pork, things like that. Medication also, it's very important to quit before you come here, and to try to start having like at least, having like a how do you call it, like a spiritual practice, to say it in a way, like maybe meditation or even praying, to have to receive the clarity that you need to receive, exactly, because we also oftentimes say the medicine is going to give you what you need and not what you want, right?
Yes.
But when the medicine is giving you what you need, it's also giving you what you want, even if you don't know that you want that. So it's very, very interesting. So the cleaner is the body, the better. And also to pay attention. It's very, very important, again, to pay attention to the thoughts and what you are consuming through your eyes, through your ears. If you are watching like the news, like bad news everywhere, the music that you listen, the people that you listen to, like these are things that you really need to really like be very jealous about your space and where you are at, and to be the most connected that you can to yourself, to your emotions.
When the guests, when future guests call our number to book, you will get some information from one of our sales agents that will explain the medical side about the preparation, about the pharmaceuticals you have to be off, and certain supplements you have to be off. There's lots of just over-the-counter things that are contraindicated with ayahuasca that you have to be careful with, and also other psychedelics. We don't want to have you doing a mushroom ceremony the week before you get here, because there's a lot of serotonin that's going on in the brain, and we have to make sure that you're safe and that you're following the protocols that keep this program safe and keep you safe.
Yes.
So I want to talk also, this is how maybe Karo can answer this. In the ceremonies, and we call them ceremonies because they're sacred spaces where we're doing very serious work, and that's why we call it a ceremony. And so in the ayahuasca ceremonies, some people have said they're scared sometimes about maybe a dark energy or a low vibrational energy that could show up, or that they might face. Or how do we handle that as the shamanic team? Like, what do you guys do if you notice that, or if some guest is talking about that? Like, how do you handle that?
So I identify these dark energies, or like as accumulated fear energy, So it's like from my point of view, it's like in the most cases something we relate to in our fears, and consciously or mainly unconsciously. So I like and like when we experience these things, I also go individually in the conversation to really feel into like where it's to address to, in a way, because in very many cases it's like we see a demon, let's say, but it's an expression. It's like an expression of my fear. So and you can also see it that way, that these energies are accumulating and like kind of that there is a spirit of fear, so to say,
Yes.
And but it's fear, and it's like how we are related to that.
Our maloka, where that's the maloka is the space where the ayahuasca is served. It's a protected space.
Yes, exactly. And we have
Right?
also the tools. We have the smoke, the copal, which is a very, very high spirit of cleanse, or the bigote, even in a deeper way. So we have these tools, and we have like the wairas and the feathers and the chant. They are like also bringing the spirits of nature and the spirits of light into the space, and then I really like, and that also takes place then,
Beautiful.
and then also to then it happens again. We're speaking about love and self-love and channeling love, like that's also start to wrap around the fear and penetrating the fear, and then the fear has to transform into that.
Amazing.
So that's how the best way to explain it.
I truly believe that in that maloka there is nothing evil in there.
No.
It's just like you said. It's our own fear. It's our own sort of thoughts that are vehicles to remove emotion that we're holding on to, right?
And even in that part of the process, when we feel like it's something evil there, it's in a way our own incapacity at the moment to recognize that it's our own fear. So we need to put it outside because we still cannot take responsibility.
Yes,
right?
I love that.
We still like resisting. So we said, no, it's not me. This is not
That's a
mine.
great way
And
to
also
describe it.
what we call evil, also what's happening in the world is like based on mistrust and fear again.
Yes.
You know? So it's and this is how we also again start to manipulate or to like and there this dense energy start because we create, we are part of the creation in a way.
I love that.
And-
That takes sort of the fear that the Westerners that aren't familiar with the indigenous healing protocols, it takes that out of it a little bit. That takes the fear out of it. That I can come here, I can go deep, I can become vulnerable in ways that are
that's,
healthy.
For me, one of them.
Right?
It's one of the most important things.
We have so many safety protocols here at Rythmia.
Absolutely, yes.
We have 5 medical doctors. We have 12 registered nurses. We have a paramedic. We have a 5-to-1, 6-to-1, or sometimes even 4-to-1 ratio of staff to guests in the Maloka, depending on the night. And we have a 24/7 urgent care center that's here that's rarely used at all.
Yes.
It's used for dominoes and poker. It's not used for much because the medicine is very safe once you're medically qualified to participate in it, and the emotional process that people go through is highly supported by the staff. And everybody here knows your name, knows who you are, knows what you're working on, knows what intention you're dealing with. The guests are blown away by how everybody knows their name.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Hey, how's it going? And how's your son from because we get to know you because you need to feel safe in order to do this work." So our staff are very, very safe. This is a very safe facility. And by the way, just a little plug, we're the highest rated resort on TripAdvisor with over 3,000 5-star reviews. Just I thought I'd say that. That's my little plug. So I want to ask, I want to bring up one more question I think is very important for a lot of people. There's been a question about an artist that's hit a block. And I don't know what kind of artists they are, but they're in the field of art. Maybe they're painters or photographers or poets or who knows, millions of ways. Will ayahuasca help them break through that creative block that is preventing them from being creative and continuing their career?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
yes. Because again, in the moment that we can see, what we're carrying, because what happens is that when we were given the thought, and this is the way also that explained it in the tradition, when we were given the thought, we started accumulating thoughts, right? And then in all the thoughts that we create, we start lacking of self-belief, that we stop believing in ourselves. Because again, somebody told us like, you cannot do this, you're not good enough, like these are like the core beliefs. And then at some point during our life, the core beliefs we catch them when we're little, also from 2 to 7. And then something during our lives will trigger this core belief. And then we start believing in ourselves. We believe that we are not enough, that we are not capable, that nobody loves us, like so many things. And that's when we feel maybe we were doing good in life, but then something happens that triggers this, and then we stop believing in ourselves.
Wow.
We start doubting ourselves. And one of our teachers says, when the doubt comes, doubt the doubt, don't doubt yourself.
That's
So,
incredible. Yeah, I love that. Well, the thing too is that, if I always thought it was funny when I was in school, I would watch these movies from like I was on my doctorate program from the 60s of all these professors that would like smoke weed and like lay down in their office and like have fractals show up and they'd like break the code for some genetic thing, right? So I always thought like, what is this?
Yeah, but also like that. Speaking about creativity is also like that. When we drink the medicine, it's a jump into the unknown. It's a jump into the mystery, and what the medicine is teaching us pretty fast is that to learn to be really open and not always like proving what I already know. So and related to creativity is like with the medicine we learn to really to look into the open space, and like being an artist is like really receive. It's also divine communication in a way, to receive poetry or to receive like ideas and creative ideas and go into the process to build that and to weave it. That's mainly what is happening in the medicine, like receiving the medicine.
I love that.
In a personal way, but of course also in we are from creation, like you know, it's like and creativity and creation, of course, that's it.
I think a lot of people lose their connection to their own creativity and their own artistry sort of skills that they might have, or just their ways of thinking, right? Because the world, the system, just pushes them down, blocks them.
Yeah, and I also hear so many people, oh my God, I always love to sing. And I said, bring it back into life.
Yes.
Or they dance, and I haven't danced for years. And, and then I said, yeah, dancing is a good medicine.
I love that. We have a dancing class.
Yeah,
we have a dancing class. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to wrap it up, and I want to invite all of you to give us a call at our sales office. I'm going to give you the number right here. It's area code 833-217-8127. It's a toll-free number. And we have sales agents on standby with certain hours. Usually it's 8 to 5 Pacific time. There's some East Coast times. There's all different hours. But you can leave a message and you can get through to one of our sales agents and they can answer any questions you have. They've all been to Rythmia themselves. They've all gone through this process. They've all had their own ayahuasca experiences. They can speak to it very knowledgeably. And they're going to help you understand how the preparation, what meds you have to be off of before coming, and what contraindications there are. Some people have heart conditions that eliminate them from participating with an MAOI, which is what ayahuasca is. And just one of those, just to give it a little preview, is if you ever had open heart surgery, or if you ever had an arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat, those are non-starters for us, unfortunately. So there's other things that we can kind of point you in the right direction for. But we always point you back to your prescribing physician, and to help with tapers off of meds and just medical protocols. We're not giving medical advice, but we're just telling you what the qualifications are to come to Rythmia. Also, we have a website that you can go to and also get information from, and it's www.rythmia.com/schedule. And in that, you can book a time to speak to one of our phone agents, and they'll call you back, and they're all really nice people, and they're some of my other favorite people at the company. This is a company that is supported by love and connection and relationships, and we practice what we preach, and it's like one big happy family usually. and I'm just honored to be around and surrounded by so many amazing people that work here, and the guests themselves are just incredible. I think we've all learned from them.
Yes,
right?
They are an inspiration. Like every week, we get so inspired for the work that you guys do when you come.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
This isn't even really a job, right? It's like I don't know what it is. It's not a job. It's like
it's life.
It's just life. Yeah. I have to pinch myself every time I think that I work at Rythmia. It's like wow.
To be in this service is the most beautiful thing.
Yes,
it
is.
Really,
Absolutely.
So we welcome you to Rythmia. Please give us a call. It was so nice talking to everybody, and we look forward to more of these in the near future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.